Good morning. This is Dennis Fuchs with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District latest update. Hey, before I get into talking about a couple of workshops that are going to be coming up in February, I'd like to remind listeners that if you have a question when I'm on the radio and you'd like to send them before I get on the radio, we have a area on our website to pose a question. And those questions are gathered, and I can bring them with to the radio station. And the next time we're scheduled to be on the radio isn't until Wednesday, March 10th. But if you got a good question for me or Chris Hogue, our NRCS team lead, please submit them through our website. And you'll see a little area there, got a question for Chasm Radio, and you just put your name, and that's optional, and your email is optional. And then you type your question, and we can capture that information. So your identity doesn't have to be exposed if you don't want to share it. But that's just another opportunity to ask us some questions online when we're on air live, and we can do our homework before we answer those questions. That's very helpful for a guy like me. So today I want to talk about a couple of workshops coming up in February, and those are the nutrient management conferences. And due to COVID-19, these conferences are going to be using Zoom, so you don't have to worry about weather or travel concerns. And the format for both events is going to be the same. They're going to have full research presentations available online about a week before the Zoom event. And participants are encouraged to watch the full presentations in advance. And then on the day of the Zoom event, you can view a short summary presentation and ask questions of the researchers. And the 7th Annual Nitrogen, Minnesota's Grand Challenge and Compelling Opportunity Conference, that will be held on February 9th. And those presentations are going to be available February 2nd. And that conference highlights the latest research specific to nitrogen management. And as you know, nitrogen is one of the nutrients that we apply to a lot of our row crops, small grains, and use in our gardens. And it's also one of those fertilizers that can sneak through the soil profile, move with water into our groundwater and surface waters. So it's just important that we really manage that to the greatest extent possible. The other meeting that I'm going to talk about in a little more detail includes the 13th Annual Nutrient Management Conference. That'll be held February 16th, and the full presentations will be available on February 9th. And this conference is more general, addressing nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and other topics related to nutrient management. So for the first event, it's called the 7th Annual Nitrogen, Minnesota's Grand Challenge and Compelling Opportunity Conference. It's going to be a half day from 8 a.m. until noon. And once again, that is going to be on Tuesday, February 9th. And we're going to have information about these on our website. So just go to our website and you'll be able to click on here and get registered, because you have to register for both of these free events. And just a reminder, you can Google, do a search for Stearns County SWCD, or if you want to write this down, our worldwide web address is Stearns County SWCD. That's all smushed together .net. Once again, Stearns County SWCD.net. Okay, let's get into the Tuesday, February 9th, the presentations for the nitrogen conference. And that's going to kick off at 8 o'clock. They're going to have a virtual coffee hour. That's where you sign in and make sure all your technology works. As you know, sometimes it just doesn't happen. And at 8:30, Kelly Nelson with the University of Minnesota is going to talk about ESN use in poorly drained soils. At 8:40, they're going to talk about alternative management tools for groundwater protection. And Yeba Yesgard from the Minnesota Department of Ag will cover that topic. At 8:50, we'll have a nitrogen fertilization in southeast Minnesota. They have some extra special challenges in southeast Minnesota with the limestone or karst geology. And then at 9 o'clock, we're going to have a Q&A on those sessions. So what's really nice is it's going to be a half-day session They're not going to be long, drawn-out Zoom talks. They're 10-minute sessions, so that's why it's important that you view the presentations beforehand, because they're going to just give a summary of the data that you already reviewed and then open themselves up for questions. So after 9 o'clock, at 9:15, they're going to talk about bioreactors, wetlands, and other nitrogen mitigation practices. And Jeff Strock with the University of Minnesota will cover that topic. At 9:25, we got Axel Garcia with the University of Minnesota talking about cover crops to mitigate nitrogen losses. 9:35, we have Gabriel Piel from University of Minnesota talking about nitrogen management and crop yields relative to tillage and tiling. And then we have a special University of Minnesota researcher, Yo Meow. That almost sounded like meow. His talk is going to be on proximal and remote sensing based on precision nitrogen management. So those of you that are looking at precision equipment, precision application, that'd be a great talk to check out. And at 9:55, they'll have Q&A on those talks. 10:15, nitrogen management. Fabian Fernandez with the University of Minnesota is going to talk about nitrogen management and irrigated sands with cover crops. Vivek Sharma from the University of Florida will cover integrated irrigation of nitrogen management for crop production. And at 10:35, Carl Rosen will talk about end credits following sweet corn and cover crop influences. They'll have a Q&A once again. And then at 11 o'clock, Paulo Piaga from University of Minnesota will talk about atmospheric nitrogen deposition. Dave Franson from North Dakota State University is going to talk about ammonium fixation in soils and N rates. And Hannah Poffenberger from the University of Kentucky is going to talk about impacts of nitrogen fertilizers on N mineralization. And Jacob Speckman from the University of Idaho will talk about corn N use from soil versus fertilizer in Minnesota. And that'll wrap it up with a Q&A session. So once again, so this conference is dedicated to nitrogen management and some of the challenges associated with managing your nitrogen fertility program. And that's going to be once again on Tuesday, February 9th. And please visit our website to get registered for this event. And the other event I wanted to talk to you about is the Nutrient Management Conference. Now, this is a little bit more general, and this will be February 16th. And this is going to be another very good event. And it's, as I said earlier, you have to register, and that information will be available on our website. But that, once again, starts off at 8 with presentations kicking off at 8:30. Jeff Vetch from the University of Minnesota is going to talk about P&K applications, banned or broadcast. And then Dan Kaiser with the University of Minnesota is going to talk about sulfur fertilizers and application rates. Melissa Wilson from the University of Minnesota will be talking about the latest research on nitrogen and phosphorus credits for manure. Now, that's a highly appropriate topic for Stearns County. We got plenty of manure. And they'll have a Q&A session then at 9 o'clock covering those first hour sessions. And at 9:15, they'll have Lindsay Pease from the University of Minnesota talk about phosphorus and cover crops in the Red River Valley. Marion McRae from the University of Waterloo talking about phosphorus and cover crops in Ontario. And then at 9:35, phosphorus and cover crops in Kansas. Nathan Nelson's going to cover some of those items. And then Q&A, and then at 10 o'clock we start off with the next round, and that'll be Tim Raditz with the Discovery Farms. What do 100 plus site years of on-farm monitoring data tell us? He's going to let you know. And then at 10:10, and I've heard this speaker in the past, Kenny Blumenfeld with the Minnesota DNR, he's going to talk about climate change and weather impacts on nutrient management. That sounds like a very interesting discussion. 10:20, Melissa Carlson with the Minnesota Wheat Growers On-Farm Research Network is going to talk about nitrogen and sulfur applications for hard red spring wheat production. And then there'll be Q&A on those sessions. And then at 10:45, Marisol Berti from the North Dakota State University is going to talk about, does nitrogen and cover crop biomass cycle back to the next crop? Well, you're going to find out after you listen to the talk. And then at 10:55, Anna Cates with the University of Minnesota is going to talk about soil health measurements. What do they mean? and then we'll have a Q&A, and then we'll wrap it up that day with the Cottonwood River modeling and the Minnesota Department of Ag certification process in southwest Minnesota, and that'll be Brent Dazell from the University of Minnesota. And the last speaker for the day is Peter Kovac from the South Dakota State University, talking about soil properties and landscape position related to precision agriculture. So once again, this conference is free. You just need to register. We'll have registration information on our website at stearnscountyswcd.net. And this Nutrient Management Conference will be on February 16th. So please visit our website for additional information, or you can contact our office at 320-251-7800, extension 3, for some additional information. This has been Dennis Fuchs with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District latest and greatest update. Have a great week.